Hello everyone, thanks for joining us this afternoon. I am İsmahan Arslan Ari. I am an assistant professor of learning design and technologies at the College of Education. I am also the director for the South Carolina Center for Assistive Technology and Educational Research. And today I have my colleague and our co-director for the center with me, Dr. David Dawson. He's a clinical associate professor at the School of Medicine, and he has more than 20 years of experience in assistive technologies and how to integrate and help and support the students with any age of the people with disabilities. And before starting our webinar, I would like to give you a brief information about our center. I thought that you might want to connect with us to collaborate, or if you need help, we will be happy to help with your students. Or if you need help, if you yourself needs help, we will be happy to collaborate. And our South Carolina Center for Assistive Technology and Educational Research is a collaborative interdisciplinary environment of the faculty, professionals, and people with disabilities. We work together to enhance the lives of people with disabilities in the area of school and transitioning to the work. And in our center, we created the center with the interdisciplinary faculty. I am from the College of Education. Dr. Dawson is from the School of Medicine. And we also have one member, he's from the College of Engineering. And we are located at the campus of the University of South Carolina in the main campus. And we are located at the Child Development Research Center building, which is next to the Black Center. We are in the second floor. In the first floor, we have the Bright Horizon Childcare. And with the collaboration with the Child Development Research Center this year, we are establishing the Students with Disabilities in STEM Multi-User Lab. And the purpose of this lab is to do research, training, and outreach the students, faculty, and the parents to support the students, support the people with disabilities in the STEM field. And in this lab, we have cutting-edge technologies such as virtual realities to undertake critical research on and provide impactful training, outreach, and support to the people with disabilities in the STEM field. We want them to be, be more involved in the STEM field without any obstacles, barriers. And as I mentioned to you before, we will be happy to collaborate. If you or your students need any support, please send an email to us. I included in the chat, but if you did not see it, I will include my email. Okay, you please feel free to email me if we can do anything for you. And today, we are going to present an assistive technology toolkit to support your students, and the toolkit that can be used in the Blackboard learning management system. The multimodal learning toolkit, this is how we call, it is a content module which introduces students with and without disabilities generally to a variety of assistive technologies. And most of those technologies are either free or low cost. And using a universal design approach to learning, the toolkit offers students multiple formats in which to access Blackboard course materials. Especially during the pandemic, accessing the course materials is more crucial right now because most of us are either teaching or providing any information online. Even our meetings are online. And for example, to aid the students with reading Blackboard content, students may choose several tools to enhance how they read the material, hear the material out, or alter the the font or background. Are able to For Blackboard discussions, papers, and online tests, students are able to use a variety of tools, including maybe the voice recognition systems. And the learning toolkit, multimedia learning toolkit, also contains directions on how to make existing smartphones, tablets, and computer accessible for people with and without disabilities. We will briefly mention that one, but we will have another webinar related to the smartphones accessibility in April. And the Learning Toolkit also provides information about how to implement accessibility features in the Microsoft or Adobe products. And the goal of that multimedia learning toolkit is to give students the tools to complete the assignments using their academic strengths, because we want to focus on that. All the students, they have their strengths, but we don't want them to show low achievements because of some of the barriers related to the the model tools. So in this presentation, we will briefly mention some of these tools and demonstrate several of their use. And most of those tools are free and or low cost. So you can easily share with your students, include in your courses, or if you are an instructional designer, you can easily, suggest those tools to the instructors that you are helping to develop their courses. And if you want to access this toolkit, please write your university email address to the chat. So we will share it with you in Blackboard, so you can also easily copy that content to your courses in Blackboard. Or, if you don't have any university email address, we will figure it out how we can, we will provide you the list so you can create your own toolkit, the module in your Blackboard or in your learning management system. Now, okay, this is all I was going to say. And Dr. Dawson, the floor is yours. You can share your screen. And you are muted.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. And let me go right here, and I'm going to share the screen right there and put us into, there we go. And let me do one thing where I don't, I'm going to stop this share one more time and go and try it, do one more time, because it did not share the audio this time.
Mm-hmm.
So click on this. All right, maybe we'll find out. So as Dr. Ari was mentioning, the idea of this came about. Well, I've been teaching university classes for quite a number of years, and accessibility is something that has been forefront of my training as well as working with students. And I discovered many years ago that students, whether they had a disability or not, could benefit from the same technology. That sometimes I will have students that will come in and they may have, for some reason, they may not be a strong reader that day, or they may have some issues right there with vision. So therefore, we have set up tools right there. So I said with them, instead of reading, how about you listen to it? All right, so tools they could listen to. Tools in which they may not get distracted by going different ways of internet searches. When they're doing searches, they can actually just see the highlight. Ways that I have students used to look at me and say, I have a problem with kind of discussion boards. I just don't know anything. I said, well, just how about when you talk? You're talking to me fine right there. And I said, well, yeah. I said, well, let's, instead of typing, let's use your voice. So this came about as a way of making things accessible for all students. It also was one in which we started to put in place because, as Dr. Ari said, once we get your Blackboard account, we will put you on this, and so that everyone will have that. And so let me see if I can go back and kind of show you. You would have right there, once we put it in, you will have on your favorites right there, should show up, there's something called Rehab Academic Toolkit. And Rehab Academic Toolkit is where we are. If you look at any of my classes right there, and like I'm doing 7-11, my counseling class, all right, you will see basically right there, different ones in there. This one, instead of the toolkit, is called multimodal learning right there. And you will see that it sets in every one of my classes. So every one of my classes, this toolkit just sets in there as part of the module. It does two things. One, it kind of really helps to ensure accessibility. So when persons are asking, is my class accessible? What am I doing about making things accessible? Or the department that I kind of can point to, I said this multimodal learning kit sets in there. The other one again is it tools. So the multi-learning kit, when you go there, and so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you kind of just the layout of this kit by itself. I call it a kit, toolbook, whatever. One of the things to know about this is there's a discussion board on this. You have freedom to say what you like. What do we compute? What could we put on? This is not anything in which Dr. Ari or I control. We put things up, but we try to make this university wide to everyone in the university who wants this. This also means that you can put it in there, you can adapt it to yourself to your own classes, but in the whole kit, you can also make suggestions, bring things in. So it's a pretty, we try to make it a collaborative effort. So the toolkit right there, and the purpose right there is the toolkit. Again, Dr. Ari, I think, did a really good job on that. And so some of the things you'll see there is when a student looks at it, we taught one called accessible tools, guides for accessibility, screen readers, e-readers, magnification, Google resources, voice recognition. And so students get an idea of the number of resources that are available and that they could choose at any time they want to. And again, this is not required, but it's one there. The accessibility tools is a PowerPoint that when a student clicks on this PowerPoint right there, they will actually go and they will see a PowerPoint that comes up, and then that PowerPoint gives them, talks a little about accessibility tools. When they look at accessibility guides, recognizing that many of these programs already wrote about that. Most students do not realize that you can have every one of these programs have to be 508 compliant, which means there's an accessibility version. And so if you have Office, PDF there, most students don't recognize that your PDFs can all be read aloud. And you can really have that. Yeah, I was amazing students just the other day because they didn't know if you just press the control key and you basically hit the plus or the minus key, it basically zoomed things in. And I said, well, that's part of the accessible guides. So the guides right there are a main part there. We will notice, that I have it back to Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, as well as Google and Macintosh. It allows persons to really look at that, and we don't know what version they have. So therefore, again, for persons who are wanting to go into Microsoft right there, if I were to click on this right there, then it will actually go into the Microsoft website, hopefully. The wonderful thing about technology when you demonstrate it is at the time that it says it wants to throw it out. All right. And so they can actually go to the website. They can learn a little about, again, vision, hearing, neuro. This is something that's not new. This is built into the tools of already everything. And so it's really nice that students get that, be able to see it there. And again, we go to Adobe, we go different ones. All right, so let me jump out of here. The next one that they tend to look at is e-readers. E-readers we have a lot of electronic books. One of the things that, again, when I'm looking at books for students, I always want to make sure that I have an electronic representation somewhere, that the student can have access to it, not just from a hard copy, but also, and usually I'll write to the authors of that, and I may do something where MindTap, Cengage has a popular one. There's a number of different ones, and these readers they have may or may not have built-in screen readers. If they don't have built-in screen readers, then these are some ones that are available. They're different free. And then I will put these on there a lot of times and I'll show students how you'll do PDFs, EPUBs, Mobi, and even comic books. So different e-readers. And again, all are free. Magnification is one that's really crucial. Magnification, in there we talked about it. Everyone sees things a little differently. Everyone's eyes are a little bit differently. Sometimes it's just as simple as 10, and sometimes one of the easiest ones is to point out, and Dr. Ari, you'll have to tell me if it, well, actually, we'll see if it works. Can you see, Dr. Ari, the screen that has like ease of access and mixed reality and different, or do you still see the Blackboard?
We still see the Blackboard.
All
Do
right.
you share the screen or the application?
I'm going to go and redo that again. I'm going to share the, I want to share the desktop, right? There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yes, now we can.
Okay, so a lot of times I'll take students through this, and there are a lot of things that right from the start, you will see that for display, there are many different ways. Google has them, Microsoft has them, but things like there, you can make things very large. You can make text extremely large or small. You can change their magnifiers. We can turn magnifiers that are actually on that can zoom on. I tend to use different methods for mine. Our cursors, this is really good for some of our students. We make it really large. We could change the color of the cursor. We could change the color of the screen. Contrast. If I wanted to put the contrast on and I put right there, again, it's going to give me a moment. It'll change it, but you're going to see the contrast will change. And it takes a little bit longer on this one because I'm actually have not just a laptop, I have a secondary monitor, a much larger monitor. So you'll see that I can change some of the themes black on there. I could change some of the contrast, a little high contrast there, change it a little bit more. I can change some of the applications. Again, whatever works for that student. And by the way, please feel free to interrupt or ask questions. So let me get out of this and go back to, there we go. All right. So some of the other ones. All right. And we're back on the Google screen, Dr. Ari? Chromebook or no, the toolkit?
Yes, now I can see the Blackboard, yeah.
All right. For as much as I'm into technology and as much as I know about assistive technology, it's only in a very small slice. I know a lot about assistive technology, navigating and everything else, I get lost. B-Reader is a really neat one because of that. For some students, it's not just the idea that it's a speed reader. And for some students that have like attention deficit disorder, for some students that basically they're reading processing, they basically need to more focus. And so what this does is it really will take text on a screen, take text on something, and it will speed it up and highlight it. And so persons will actually kind of go, and it's really nice for students who find themselves their mind wandering, or find students that they start getting the thoughts in when they should be reading right there. And so they really liked it, different chunks. It also speeds up the reading. Chrome Shade is a different way of doing highlighting. So we have different ones right here, color enhancements, changing the different color of the screen. I showed you how to do it with Windows, but these are also, you'll notice that do it Chrome. So we can do Windows, Chrome. We also have it so you can do it with Macintosh. Jump out of here. So from that one right there, we talked about screen readers, and we're right now, and you want to talk about, oh, I jumped, I stopped my, screen readers. Dr. Ari, you want to talk about screen readers?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And,
I think it is just right time to talk about the screen readers.
all right, and let me.
So you don't need to stop sharing. Just open the the screen readers.
Okay.
So I will talk. Okay. And most of you might heard about the name screen readers, and the screen readers are software applications that read everything on the screen. And screen readers are essential for the people with visual impairments and the people with learning disabilities, or the people who are illiterate. They might need support in their reading. And sometimes we might be lazy and we just want to listen. This is also beneficial for us. And most of those programs need to be downloaded to your computer, or there are also built-in ones that I'm going to mention you. As you can see on that screen, the most popular one and most reliable one is the JAWS. And the JAWS read a lot what is on the PC screen and gives the user tools to navigate and access to any content on the computer. But the drawback is, JAWS is expensive, but you can still download the demo version, and it gives you 40 minutes of the program, or 40 minutes to use the program. And after the 40 minutes, you need to restart your computer to use, for the minutes again. But I think it might be a good option for the students or faculty who might want to just check the accessibility of the content, documents, or who wants to complete a short task. And another one is the NVDA. And NVDA is a free version, and you can control what is read to you when you move your cursor to the relevant tasks. But another, I will also show, tell you, the other built-in ones, the narration. The narrator is a built-in reader app for the Windows 10 users. And so you don't need to download anything. You just need to make it enabled. And to start the narrator, you just need to press the Windows logo key on your keyboard, Control and Enter together. And you just need to press the same keys to stop the narrator. And if you are a Macintosh user, the built-in screen reader app is called VoiceOver. And if you are a Chromebook user, the Chromebox is the built-in screen reader that you can easily use. And another option for the Android device users are the TalkBack. So those are some of the options of the screen reader. So all those are included in the module. So you can, this also provides option to your students, because your students most probably have different devices, different the skills and the techniques, so they can easily select whichever best fits their needs.
Right, and so let me do right here. I want to, and Dr. Ari, I'm going to tell you that I lost my, and close right here. There we go. All right, I want to reshare this just a little bit. And we'll see if what we can do is, one of the things that I'm going to do is try to pull up, Dr. Ari talked about NVDA, and NVDA is one of the ones that I tend to like, because of that it really works out well for my students right there. And where do I have it? And my NVDA shows up. You can see, by the way, my screen you'll see is very large, a lot of monitors, but NVDA, you'll hear it in just a second. All right. So let me go ahead and jump out of that. So what you saw is that this allows basically read. We could read the whole screen. What I like about NVDA is where JAWS is really more designed for persons who are blind, and we actually have a section on that talking about another one coming up on how to work with students who are blind or vision impaired. But the other one is NVDA is really good for students with learning disabilities, students who second language learners, or quite honestly, students right there who just don't want to read something there. It literally will read everything on the screen. And some of our students are quite honestly do much better at listening to something and remembering it than reading it themselves. So reading it silently is not the best for all students. So we'll use basically JAWS says that's a really good one. For some students though, they don't need a screen reader. All they need is a text reader. And the difference between a text reader and a screen reader is where a text reader is just a screen reader will literally read everything. It reads everything on the screen. It reads every button push there. Text reader, on the other hand, just reads what I highlight. So if I'm highlighting this right here, and you should be able to hear it in just a second, and I'm doing a key press, a left key press, and then I'm getting this idea, what do I want to play? And I actually have several different options that I can listen to it from. So I'm just going to play selection. Okay. So you saw right there that it kind of put right there. There are different ones and different brands. The reason that I have different ones is depending on what I want to listen or how I want to listen. Another one right there, read selected text aloud.
Dr. Dawson, we can't hear the voice.
Oh, it's not hearing. You're not hearing it?
We
All right.
can't hear it.
All right, let me try it again. I was afraid of that because I did share and I did not see the audio. Let's try it. So let's try. There we go. Let's try it again. Okay. Which means that we all didn't see the NVDA when I ran that one either. Okay.
Yeah.
NVDA also is very similar. And then I'll just tell you what I was doing because I was talking to you. It is there. While I was talking to you and I was moving the app, it was actually reading everything aloud. And it was literally reading anything that I put the cursor on. And that was the advantage. Again, this one right here, I'm going to just pick right there, highlight it.
Select and speak users as speeches human quality text to speech TTS to read any.
And that's one right there. I have another one over here. I'll try it. Should just show you a different version. Takes a moment for this one. Maybe not on that one. All right, I'll try another one.
Contains many functions like 6 main languages, voice, gender, rate, pitch, and volume.
Okay. There's a couple of things where I remind students, and one of the things when I'm taking students there, so students basically have these options that they can put, and where they are is they're setting right here on my top of my screen. If you notice, I have a couple things that I keep on my screen where I'll have usually my quick access is on the bottom, but I also have right here where actually I can access things fairly quickly as I want to. Since so screen readers there, different text ones, I have actually an extension one that I tend to show students right there, but this is one that I tell them when they're a little bit more advanced. This allows me to easily turn things on and off, and there's things like cite this for me, toolbar we'll talk about later in another session also, but there are so many that you can have on here that I like to keep things turned off and on really easily, but this is when I want to go. This is my quick way of doing that in the moment. All right, so we talked about text readers. We talked about there. The one that is really gets students going is voice. As I tell students that how many of them really like writing papers, some of them will say yes, and I say, wouldn't it be great if you could just talk to a paper or talk to the computer and it writes it for you? And give you a demonstration of that. Open DragonPad. This is a demonstration of how I can use my voice to write all of my papers, period. This also can show how I can use this to listen to the papers which are written, period. Select that. Select line. Read that.
Also can show how I can use this to listen to the papers which are written.
Play that. Also can show how I can use this to listen to the papers which are written, period. Go to sleep. All right, so what you saw there was me using my voice to write. You also saw a couple of really strengths there. The idea that after we write a paper, the idea the person, the student can still listen to it. They can listen to their words. They can hear it. I tend to use it where sometimes if something's having difficulty with understanding a word or two, I like the playback feature. Because of that, I can hear my own voice. I can hear if I'm being a little bit soft. I tell people that everyone has multiple voices. When they're doing this, you always have a morning voice, an afternoon voice. Sometimes you have a Saturday night voice, and sometimes you have a Sunday morning voice after Saturday night. What I used was Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is my one that I tend to use most. Listen to me. Microphone off. Okay. I wanted to just make sure I turned it off because it will just keep following in the background. But there also is available for Chrome Docs. Chrome Docs has one in which the voice recognition works fairly well. There's Macintosh. There's Windows comes with its own that you can find on there. All Windows programs have one there free. All Macintosh have one there free. And so I will sometimes give assignments to just get someone started in this. And so we will do things where we'll open up a discussion board. And I may have them where they're actually typing in the discussion board using their voice, or typing some papers just using the voice just to get used to it. I'll also may have it where they're actually reading it. And just so I want them to not only experience it, but get to trade with it a little bit. All right, let's go here. And again, we also want additional resources. And what additional resources is literally one of those things that we kind of throw together, that as we find things or other faculty find things, we put it in here. And that's where you'll things that are more things like AT Toolbar, which we're going to talk about in another session, is an all-in-one feature that allows you to do, and it sets on the top of your screen. And it's always on the top of the screen right there, and it allows to do multiple different ways of accessing. Cite It for me is just one of the things that's really nice if you've not had students right there kind of helping to for citations, extension managers, dictionaries on there. Okay. And oops, I jumped out too far. And let me shrink this down. There we go. All right. So the multimedia, okay. So when you get this and you'll basically get all this right here, and this will change. What you need to know is when this right here changes periodically. The moment that you bring it in to your system and I start doing some things with this, that is yours and no one will be able to change that, okay? So any changes that I make, if you notice, the first thing that doesn't come up is that big picture of multimedia. And so there's some variations that if I want to put things in here, you'll see I have on some here some different study apps that were not on the other one. And no one can see those. So that allows you to, once you get to the multimedia one or the multi-toolkit, academic toolkit, not sure what we're calling it yet. It'll allow you to use the multi-learning and really personalize it. We have other features right here in which we'll be including those in there. One of them, as Dr. already talked about, we'll be talking about accessibility of smartphones. Again, it allows students the same way to look at that. Some other features right there, Apple there, that are also blended in, and we have these separated for different presentations. So with that, I'm actually going to stop here and I'm going to turn it to class discussions and let you all ask questions.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dawson. Any questions, any comments? You can either type in the chat or you can unmute yourself and talk.
If not, one of the questions I'm asking you is, this can sit on your Blackboard. How could you all use it? If you're thinking about what classes are you teaching, how could this be beneficial to students, not only with disabilities, but students without disabilities? What are you thinking? Because I want your all's feedback.
Okay, we have one question. Shauna, is there another web conference where we could have an opportunity to try use these products, like something hands-on? Actually, we will have 4 more webinars throughout the semester, and the next webinar is going to be about how to make your online courses accessible, but it is generally to I will provide the information, and at the same time you can try to make your own the course documents accessible. And the next one is going to be how to work with the students who are blind or visually impaired. And the third one is going to be speech recognition. And at that time, if you sign up for that one, we will also provide the hands-on, and we can send the list of the tools that we are going to use in advance, so you can also try with us at the same time. And the last one is going to be the accessibility apps for smartphones and tablets for educators and students. Those are all listed in the CT's events calendar. And in that one, if you keep your the smartphones or tablets with you, you can also try it. But if you send us your email address, we will be happy to share all those toolkits, so you can also try. And when you have any questions, please feel free to reach us. I will also type my email address here, so you can email me whenever you need help.
One of the things, again, I want to highlight is that we're for the South Carolina Center for Assistive Technology and Education Research, and we are your center, and we're basically right there that you all can come to our center and try the stuff hands-on. We, like I said, we're setting up an area with 10, 15 computers right there. We're having some places that we can do some really hands-on, and it's not just the idea that you could do it with yourself. but you can also do it yourself as a professional, professor, student, GA, but also students. You can send students here if have students are having some problems with their students are getting some, they just want a little bit more one-on-one sessions. We can either work with them basically one-on-one, or I can do something like right here. A lot of times because of the pandemic over the last year, I've been doing quite a bit of this type of forum for taking them through, and where we're doing a lot of things, shared screen shares together and trying to problem solve the issues that they're having. Did that help answer the question?
And unfortunately, during the pandemic, our aim was to do it face to face, but because of the pandemic, we had to do it we had to make it online. But I hope, when everything gets, better, we are planning to provide those trainings in face to face in person. And we are also planning to open our new lab in the Child Development Resource Center. It is 5030 Wheat Street. And you are more than welcome to join us and to try different, the assistive technologies. And we will also have the virtual reality if you want to try and to use it in your classes. So we will be happy to help you on that one.
Great point, Susan. Do you want to talk about the admin? Again, some of these things is really interesting, like Chromebook. If you're using Chrome on there, I've noticed that there's a number of these in which I need no admins on, especially if we're looking at like ease of use and looking at things that are already built into your Windows systems, things that are already built in. But there are other things, like if you're putting Dragon on, you're exactly right. You need to go and have that installed, and you'll have to have admin permissions and stuff. Susan, do you want to talk anything about that from an admin?
Well, I just wanted to say that, every department is different. And I actually had a Mac just re-imaged, and I work at Division of IT. And I went to download the Teams app, and I needed admin privileges. They didn't give me admin privileges, and yet I support people. So every department, it's so individual. You just have to talk to your IT people and find out, have them give you the rights, or they will do it for you. Yeah.
School of the Medicine, we actually have a kind of double protection, because we have to have not only the university, but we also, because of that, we're linked in with every hospital system and every file system, and we're totally locked down. And the only reason I have admin privileges is because of that. What I do, I also have a virtual reality lab. I also have other things that we do with sister technology, and I think they were just tired of every 15 minutes me on the phone.
And since Susan just talked about it, Susan also provides webinars through the CTE, and one of her, I think this might be your interest. I also strongly suggest you to participate is, the webinar. It will be next Friday, and the topic is going to be meeting students' accommodations needs in Blackboard, if you want to add more information about it.
Well, just that I'm one of the presenters, but we also have Aisha Haynes from the Center for Teaching Excellence, and we also have a representative from this SDRC, the Student Disability Resource Center. And so we sort of bring in 3 different points of views about accommodations. And one of the things I talk about is the Blackboard Ally tool for alternative formats. So we each have different things that we bring in. So yeah, and that is the information and registration information is on the CTE events page. Thank you for the plug.
That's right. And this is one of the things that is kind of really to know that the Blackboard Ally really looks at accessibility and talks about how things are accessible. We'll look at that. This is a great hand-in-hand tool. We have the Blackboard Ally accessibility, but then you also have the ability to then hear it, listen to it from the accessible version of it. Again, what I want to highlight is that this tool sits on Blackboard. It's open to anyone who wants to have it to pull it in. It costs nothing. It was designed by us, and us, I mean as a collective. And it is basically, Blackboard doesn't own it. No one owns it except UofSC. And so it's up to us to also modify. So that's why you will always hear me saying suggestions there, plugs, ways to make it better. Again, this is ours to help enhance our classes.
Any other questions or comments? I think no. Thank you all so much for joining us today. And as I mentioned before, if you want to know how to make your online courses accessible, our next webinar is going to be in March 5th at 1 p.m. and you can register through the CT website. And if you will have any questions, if we can help you anyway, please send me an email.
If nothing else coming